Hi everyone, it's Mike with Presentation Plus Ups, and I have a simple yet incredibly powerful tip for you today for this Thursday. And it really is introducing the concept of typesetting into your presentation design. I promise you this is super low technology, but it will dramatically plus up your presentation. So let's get started. Welcome to Presentation Plus Ups. Okay, we're talking about typesetting. Let me show you some first examples of what it is. And at the most basic, what you're seeing here on my composite is what typesetting is. It's not putting all of your text in one box and then varying the size of it, the line spacing, the width, whether it's italics, whether it's serif or sans serif. I mean, you could go down a whole rabbit hole here. Typesetting is a centuries old art, and it is something that is very easy and a lot of fun to incorporate into your presentation design. So this, what you're seeing, is what it's not. It is not putting all of the content. In fact, let me just back out of this for a second, make that a little larger for you. It is not trying to put all of your content into one text box. And that's primarily because you just can't get the effect you're looking for where elements are sitting and placed when you're doing that in something like Microsoft Word, PowerPoint. It's not built that way. It's built for ease and simplicity, and that's not what it is. So that's a little example of what it isn't. Let's take a look at an example of what it is. So this is typesetting, my friends. We're radically redefining how big our font can be to help us visually make some impact. And in this case, you notice we have two different text boxes. And let me step out of this one and you'll see there's one large text box where I have the font at 124. We have a second text box here where it's blue, it's all caps. It's a much thinner weight of font for us. And yeah, it's set up, and both of these are set up at an angle to help reinforce the point of what we're getting at. So typesetting can also be varying whether it's serif or sans serif and the different weights. So in this, we have a perfect example. We have a serif font. That's where you have these little edges, these little glyphs, and they are set up on the edges of your letters. And in this case, I believe this is more in the, I don't know, like 220, 240 font size. We've really just redefined what's possible and then having fun and just playing with the placement in here. So this is more of that infographic style. And I've actually taken this and done things like 400, 500 slide presentations where every slide has some sort of typeset element to it. So once you know how to do this, it's actually, number one, a lot of fun, but it's very quick. So I'm going to show you some workflow tips. And the first one I'm going to encourage you to do is begin to love using the insert text box tool. So let me show you how easy it is to love this feature. What you're going to want to do is under the insert menu, there is the insert text box feature. So the first recommendation I would have you do is right click that and add it to the quick access toolbar. Now you'll notice mine is grayed out because I already have it on my quick access toolbar, and it's right over here, insert text box. So I've eliminated one click from this process. Much like a pit crew can go in and change a tire very quickly, we want you to be able to work fast and efficient. Insert text box, I click and drag, and I can just type away. I'm just going to put the word font on here. Okay. The other thing I want you to do is find what you would consider to be your happy baseline. So if you wanted your font to be a little bit bigger, go ahead and select it. You might say 36 is probably a good starting point. Now you can right click that text box and set that as your default text box. And the next text box we drag in, you guessed it, will have that exact font weight, font size, and you're off to the races. So the first thing I would do is just insert a text box, get used to that, add it to your quick access toolbar, and then go ahead and set it at a baseline default size that you like. So that's a big tip for you. The next thing I'm going to do is encourage you to really get this increase and decrease the font size underneath your fingertips as a keyboard shortcut. And you can see up here on screen, it's Control Shift less than to decrease the size, or Control Shift greater than to increase the size. So let's go ahead. I'm just going to insert a new slide. I'm going to insert a text box. We can select this. You notice it's at 36 point font. And if I want to increase, what I'm going to do is hit Control Shift greater than to increase it. If I want to decrease the size, we're going to hit Control Shift less than. So another thing I want to do after we've inserted and increased or decreased font size is I want us to get comfortable with duplicating a text box. This means you don't even have to go up and insert a text box. We can just go ahead and duplicate one. So in this case, let's go ahead and let's say we want to just duplicate this one. We're going to hit Control D on it, and that is the duplicate feature. Duplicate text box is Control D, and then from that point you say, all right, maybe we want this one to be more of a serif font. So just picking one randomly, you want this one to be blue, you want it to be much smaller, and you want this thing placed elsewhere. Well, then we can just go ahead and move it on over here. So got that ability to rapidly do things very quickly within this overall structure. Okay, so we've got some things that we've been working through here. We want to avoid the idea of putting all your text in one text box. You can see we've got some cool stuff going. We've looked at inserting text box. We've talked about increasing and decreasing the font size, duplicating that text box. The last thing I want to do, just in terms of this typesetting quick hit tip, is talk about rotating text. And to rotate text, you want to use the Alt and left and right arrow, and that will help you go ahead and rotate the text. So perfect example here is the slide below. We've got our text that is rotated. If I select the bounding box and I hold down Alt and then right arrow, it's going to go ahead and go this way. If I hit left arrow, it's going to rotate. So right is clockwise, left is counterclockwise. So you can go ahead and very rapidly set things up and get pretty creative with your typesetting. Okay, folks, that is a look at typesetting. Hopefully you've picked up a couple of tips. It's a lot of fun. It's addictive. It really helps you boost your visual communication, and it's shockingly easy to do once you know a few tips. Hey, if you're finding value, I'd love it if you'd like, subscribe, hit that notifications button, tell a friend. Hey, in the meantime, thanks for tuning in, and please make it a great day.